Hello, friends. Welcome to Nirmal Bang. I'm Piyush Jain, and today we are bringing to you a new IPO, a company which is bringing out its IPO soon, going to get listed on the bourses, coming from the health services sector. The name of the company is Medi Assist Healthcare Services Limited. Provides very valuable TPA services. One of the few TPA companies who actually have really made it big in India, working with all the insurance companies, general insurance, life insurance companies, and the company is now almost garnering 25% revenue market share. So let's try and understand basically how the journey has been for the company and what the future holds for the company. Let me now welcome the management, Dr. Vikram Jit Singh Chhatwal, the chairman and the whole-time director of the company, and Mr. Satish V.N. Gidugu, the chief executive officer and the whole-time director of the company.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for
so
having
much.
us.
Insurance, many years back, was not a most loved sector, sir. And over the last 10, 15 years, the journey has been phenomenal for the industry, both on the general and the life insurance side. And I'm extremely sure for a company like you, which is a very important part of the supply chain in the insurance industry, it must have been a sort of a long sort of journey for you. So help us understand when it started, basically how it happened for you, and like till now, basically how has been for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for asking me that question. The industry is not that old. It's only year 2000. It's been about 23 odd years that the industry has been active. TPAs came up as part of that regulatory framework change. And as a company, MediAssist came about in 2002. While it is fair to say that the insurance penetration is still limited in the country, but I think the undertone to that is the rapid expansion of penetration of health insurance across the length and breadth of our country. Today, about 16 odd percent of the population has health insurance, and that is expected to double to about 33% by 2028. So clearly, what is changing is a set of tailwinds that support greater penetration and participation by every Indian citizen, by every Indian employer, and most importantly, by the government of India.
Right, sir. So help us understand, sir. Um, if I say from our viewers' point of view, how you're making money, in a way, actually, it is very clear that your customers are your insurance companies. You're providing service to them, so they are paying to you. So how it helps for, like, how basically it gets formed? Is it like a long-term contract which you do? Also, basically, you must be positioned in different hospitals. Like how the entire operation basically works out.
Sure. Satish,
Uh,
would you like to?
No, thank you for that. Like you rightly said, we are a regulated intermediary. We're directly regulated by the IRDA, and on the servicing side of health insurance, so we are responsible for the service side. And today, insurers pay us as a typically the predominant revenue model is as a percentage of the premiums that they collect, right? That's how we get remunerated in most cases. Now, there are three segments within health that we operate in. One is the group health insurance, where, for example, employers offering health insurance to employees and their dependents. And then there is retail, where individuals directly buy plans from the insurers. And the third, which does not have 100% insurance because of the way the organization is set up, but the government-sponsored health schemes where the state governments or the central governments can directly engage us or engage us through the insurance companies. So wherever it's typically an insurance company, we get paid as a percentage of premiums, and these are annual contracts from a customer perspective, from a policyholder perspective. But before that, we have fairly long-term contracts with each of the insurers, which sets out the service parameters, how they want us to engage, what they actually want us to deliver, and what kind of pricing models they're offering for various products that they sell today. That's a long term. But for each policy, because it expires each year, we get remunerated for that year on each policy.
Right. So so let me first decode this part here. So an insurance premium is being paid, and then you get a part of the premium. The insurance gets renewed. So it's like an automatic renewal for you also with the insurance company.
I think that is where the service levels and the customer experience comes in because the policyholder has a choice to ask for a change upon every renewal, right, of a TPA. And that is one of our big strengths. For example, in the group insurance, despite employers sort of looking at what they want every year, we have a healthy 94+% retention rates. So there, in some ways, that is the automatic part. And in retail, typically, again, retail policyholder also has the choice to continue or switch to another TPA, but then that's a lot more influenced by the agents and some of the other distribution channels.
Right. And in terms of group insurance, how much basically is corporate insurance your part of the business, or group insurance your part of the total revenue?
About 74% of our revenues in FY23 came from the group side of the business. That's where our origins are. That's our core DNA. And group insurance was also the fastest growing segment, right, of the health insurance industry. We grew faster than that.
So that actually is the most important here. Now let's also try and understand when this revenue actually kicks in. So, for example, as a customer, I pay upfront my premium to insurance company. When actually your company gets the revenue from the insurance company?
No, that's a great question. It's also a complex one to answer. I will do my best. So when insurance companies collect premiums upfront, as per the law, they give us our portion of the revenue out of that premium. However, we recognize the revenue over the life of the policy. So, for example, if it's a
Due to
you know,
service being given.
exactly. So we only recognize by 1/12. So that's the revenue recognition model that we've always followed.
So which also implies that insurance company is giving you all upfront revenue, but due to revenue recognition standard, you keep recognizing it in the books over the entire service period. Will that be a right statement?
Absolutely bang on. And that is for each policy that we service, right? So policies don't necessarily start and end on the same day. So which means that the revenues that we've actually earned from an operating perspective are higher than what we book, in that financial year.
So that's accounting, but from a cash flow parlance, I think our viewers will take note of the fact, because this actually tells me that you have a negative working capital, and it sounds music to my ears. Because in stock market, you actually love companies who have negative working capital. So that is, I think, one part here. Second part, Vikramji, let's come to you and let's understand. The market is indeed growing. There's a lot of digitalization. What is changing in your business now? Now, as we actually over the last post-COVID era, what is changing? What is influencing your revenue growth? What's happening, and how's the sort of future looking to you?
Thank you for that question. So here's how I'd like to break the problem statement down for you. Historically, in the recent past, I'd say in the last 3 years, what's changed during the course of the pandemic and post-pandemic is one, the complexity of the type of products, insurance products that are sold. When I refer to complexity, I am talking to you about the fact that in the olden days, most products were purely driven by the inpatient market. Catastrophic illness where you fell seriously ill, you needed to go into a hospital, and a high bill came your way. What's happened, and the pandemic has only augmented that view, is that more and more insurers are beginning to sell complex products which include both inpatient care and outpatient care. Outpatient care would include doctor consultations, pharmacy, laboratory services, preventive health care, vaccination, home health care, and so on and so forth. So really what's happening here in our market is that this transition from a pure inpatient world to an inpatient plus outpatient world is clearly driving a very different consumption pattern in our market, is defining a very new set of networks. In the old days, it was predominantly based on hospitals. Today, this network definition has gone well beyond hospitals to cover all forms of care in a cashless environment. And all of this is in the backdrop of medical inflation remaining extremely high in India. Indian medical inflation is pegged at about 11%, which clearly is making a lot of people, or making access to healthcare, unaffordable. So, and that's the reason why you're beginning to see more and more people, more and more employers and individuals, buying health insurance plans and renewing them year on year as they move forward. While
Sir,
these two are,
one thing pardon me, I'm just jumping in between, but one thing I wanted to ask you while I was listening to you, and I was thinking that there are more products which are coming, there is more digitalization, more participation, young population, so they also actually are getting a lot of sort of incentives to sort of take insurance.
Mhm.
Um, Operationally, cost wise, basically, uh, is is there an operating leverage in your business? Like how it works for you?
You wanna-
So I think if you notice, our margin profiles vis-a-vis the rest of the players' margin profiles, we've always enjoyed a very high margins. And in fact, if you look at last 3 years, we've consistently delivered 23+%, while many of our peers have low double digits or a high single digit margins. So I think margin is
Satish,
a
I will also like to applaud. Viewers should take note of this fact. Not even very good margins. You're enjoying very high return capital employed, 19, 20, and now plus 20% is very good number. Return on net worth is actually in strong teens, very, very strong number. So, and that's why I asked you. This is where my question came from. Now, over to you.
No, I really appreciate it. Thank you. You made my day. But so I think if just to give you, margin is a combination of multiple things. If you look at the way the industry is set up, the industry is still very offline and depends on a lot of paper movement today, right? Between hospitals, the insurance companies, the TPAs, the members, there's a significant number of offline interactions that happen in this industry. So one big thing that we did with our technology, and I come from a technology background, one big thing that we did from technology perspective is first to build a whole lot of integrations with the rest of the ecosystem. We built integration with hospitals, with agents, with brokers, with insurance companies. We give digital access to members. Thereby reducing a whole lot of these offline activities that we do. The second thing we did was to sort of enable the self-help for our membership without having to call us, talk to us, meet us. One of the metrics that we've also published is if you looked at calls that come in per claim, that actually dropped another 36% over just the last 3 years because people have instant access to real-time access to doing everything that they used to do offline, and especially Piyush, after um, COVID, when employees moved to tier two and tier three cities, remote and digital became a necessity, right? It was not a luxury anymore because they needed to get in touch with us without being in the cities, that we were in. Lastly, we also do a fair bit of digitization and structuring of data. We use fair bit of AI in our systems. We're using that to auto adjudicate some of the claims. We are able to do better job of fraud prevention and finding. And last but not the least is the consistently high retention rates that we've enjoyed with our, with our membership. 94+% in group, consistently growing, and retention actually drives most of our revenue, brings predictability, and allows us to make fresh investments into, our business. I think it's a combination of all of them, as to why our margins are better than what you see elsewhere.
Right, and will it be fair to say that basically, like, since your retention ratio is so high, and normally you actually are not getting like insurance is a very long term gestation business. So once you have strong relations, there is a moat there, and once actually you there is stickiness there. So fair to say that already you are at 25% revenue market share. Uh, One thing which I want to ask, I think which our viewers will, I think, like to understand here, how's the market here? When you say 25% revenue market share between TPAs, might be 17 TPAs, I think. Between them, is there any sort of competition which happens, or like are the TPAs ones who are, can the TPAs do price competition between them? Like how it works internally? Help us like enlighten on that.
I think the industry is very competitive, obviously, because I think regulatorily also we set up to be neutral parties working with multiple insurance companies, where insurers have a lot of choice to find the right kind of able partners that among the TPAs for the products that they service. Of course, there's been natural consolidation in the market from 30 odd, 10 years ago to about 16 of us, now, and we've acquired, four of them in that market, over the last, few years. But I think one of the things to note is typically the fee ranges have been stable by product in the market. Like it's not like one TPA gets a lot more and one TPA gets less for the same product. And secondly, I think given the evolution or the maturity of the policyholder, price is not the only reason why they choose a service provider, especially on the group side, because they need somebody who can understand the benefit. They can invest in technology, scale, and deliver superior customer experience. So, fortunately, undercutting or price-based competition has not been the prominent theme of how this market has evolved. All of us make the same kind of revenue ranges, but it's our technology and our efficiency that allows us to make more margins out of the same revenue.
And that is where actually low cost mode comes into play. So perhaps I think your return metrics are showing that very classic signs of low cost mode here. So I think that's something good. I think our viewers will really like sort of the business here. Perhaps my last two questions. One question, I think, let me go to Vikramji again. Vikramji, OFS, was it a time after a long journey to sort of encash some benefits? Why basically IPO at this stage? Why you decided to sort of monetize a part of your holdings, or like how it was? Give us some sense around it.
No, thank you so much again. While it has been a long journey, I would still say that there is a long way to go, and I will continue to remain invested in the company significantly. I will continue to remain a participant with the management team. I think the OFS came about as part of, now I have to take you back in time to 2010-11, when I had other partners. I had two private equity investors, one in 10-11, Bessemer Venture Partners, who continues to remain a promoter with me, and of course InvestCorp, which used to be IDFC Alternatives. And this is really the key theme of the OFS here, is to provide them an exit from the business. They've remained very, very strong and good partners with us and with me. And this was an opportunity to provide them an exit while ensuring that we broad base the investors, we broad base the India partnership, if I may say so, from an ownership perspective in the business.
Right. Satish, towards last question, what is sort of net debt on the balance sheet right now? I know it's like low, but let's get the numbers here. What is the sort of net debt on the balance sheet?
It is zero. We have no funded borrowings today.
So
We have
there were some liabilities. Like, what are those liabilities kind of? There is some contingent liability. There are some financial liabilities.
No, I think those are predominantly the minor amount of non-funded borrowings are the bank guarantees that we provide as
Okay.
part of the course of business, but this company has never taken debt. We have no debt on the books.
Classic. So a cash generating business, profitable business, good returns on equity, basically largely a business which has negative working capital. You're getting money upfront. It's by choice. You actually are looking to sort of recognize revenue through the service period. That's actually very, very classical, strong cash flow business. So I think it's a pleasure talking to you, and we would like to extend you all the good wishes for a very good IPO and a very successful listed journey. And we hope to stay connected with you again the next time you announce the results. But for now, all the best to you.
Thank you, Piyush. Much appreciated.
Thank you for having us here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And dear viewers, that was a new show on the IPO. For now, I think it's a wrap. Hope you enjoyed it.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the bell icon to never miss an update from Nirmal Bang.